Well, good morning and welcome to the Underhood Show. My name is Josh Profit. I'm the service director here for Mel Hambelton Ford. A long time. Alongside me this morning is Scotty Gurman. Scotty, good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Couldn't be better. It's a beautiful Saturday morning out there.
Sunny and 70.
It is. Yes, the weather here lately has been very
Beautiful.
very nice for sure.
Yes.
So enjoy this time of year. Don't really care for the starting to get a little dark earlier, but hey, it is what it is. Nothing we can do about that for sure. But hey, good morning everybody. This is the Underhood Show. So this is automotive show. Talk about anything you want: tires, brakes, batteries, what's going on with your vehicle. This is something that you can steer us wherever you want to steer us. We've got this can be derailed at any point in time, but we want to talk about what's going on with your vehicle. If you want to talk about maintenance, tires, brakes, batteries, check engine lights, drivability issues, new vehicle products, all that stuff. It is a call-in show, so I'll get the number posted up here. I should have already had that happening, but so it is a call-in show, but 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and talk about anything automotive. That's goes to the main receptionist desk. Just tell them you want to get on the podcast, and we'll get you patched through and answer any questions you may have, and then we'll mail you out a package. But it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and a tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're going to complete a multi-point inspection on that vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety related items. Make sure that vehicle is ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. Then you'll also get yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the big corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer, especially this time of year. That's right. Definitely added value when we get crazy fluctuations in temperatures between the cool temperatures at night and warmer temperatures in the day. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then 44K for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So good morning, Scotty. Thank you for coming in and filling in this morning.
Sure.
Phil, I think, is out. They had a great night last night at Salina Speedway out there. They ended up, I think, winning the A feature out there. So
nice.
Looked like everything was going pretty good there. And then they were making a long journey to Goodland, Kansas. That's a ways out there. So I'll be interested to hear how that goes and what that track was like out there. So do some racing on some different dirt, some new dirt. So
didn't we get a whole bunch of rain? I wasn't here last week.
So it's we've been pretty fortunate on that, but also the rain, you give it a couple days to soak in, and it'll be just fine on that side of it. So but this is a call-in show, so hey, let's let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. So I know you've got a list or a couple things that you wanted to kind of go over today and talk about, and I do as well, and I'm sure we're going to get off track probably a lot. Would be my guess. As well. So but one of the things that I wanted to visit about today is tires. As we make that transition from the, let's say, summer season into fall, like I'm thinking ahead of, it's can't believe it. Like October is here. By Tuesday, we're going to be into the month of October. I think feels like we've had a maybe more of a normal fall, I guess, and actually not a drastic change in temperatures. A lot of previous years, it looks like it, or felt like it went from hot to, now it's cold. So, but I would say that it is crazy to me to think that we're already into October. But with that, I know right around the corner, we're going to get into, more winter-like weather. And so what are some things, I brought up tires, obviously. I think that's obviously the most common thing. But what are some things that consumers should be thinking about as we make that transition on their vehicle?
Well, that was my number one thing was tires. Every time a vehicle comes into here, that's one of the things of the walk around, checking all of the tires, because here in Kansas, we experience both sides of the temperature spectrum. We get extremely hot and extremely cold, which comes with snow, ice, and all of that fun stuff. So we want to make sure, obviously, that your tires are safe to be out on the road. And every so often, we get a couple of surprises, whether it be like alignment is another thing that is in relation to tires. That's very important to make sure that the footprint of the tire is making as much contact with the road as possible. And it's just those safety things when we know, because it's October, soon enough it'll be November, and then that's when it's going to start snowing, icing, and we want to make sure that your vehicle's safe for being on the road. But that's my number one. My number one is definitely going to be tires.
Yeah, and so first I'm going to read the comments up here or whatever. So we got Delbert with us this morning. Good morning, Delbert. So
good morning, Delbert.
You saying hello yesterday, Josh. Oh yeah, so I do know your appointment was down here, and I missed you, so I don't know. Had a funeral yesterday, and so I don't know if I was out for that when you came in or not. But anyways, so yes. Good morning, Delbert. We got Bill on with us this morning as well. So good morning, Bill. And so when we make this transition into fall, tires are always definitely a thing that I'm thinking about.
Yep.
When it starts snowing, the roads get slick, like traction is
you're out and pushing snow all over the parking lot at 50 miles an hour.
Traction is extremely important.
Yeah.
So definitely tires. I'm going to get this collar patch through. But the other thing that while we're talking about tires, or before we get into tires, I wanted to talk about nitrogen.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, huge and crucial too.
Absolutely.
So let's get
we'll get the collar patch in, and I'll make a note here
on what that looks like. But
sure.
The importance of air pressure, and then especially the difference in the range in the air pressure when, last night, I don't know, it was 50 degrees. Maybe today it's supposed to be probably around 80.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge temperature swing.
Right.
And the fluctuation of air pressure in tires. I mean, I've seen on just a regular passenger tire that, let's say it's 35 is the placard pressure. I've seen it be 7-8 pounds difference just totally. on a normal range,
right?
From operating temperature to where it sits and is cooled down. But you think about that and think of how that tire is going to wear.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
On the two completely different pressures.
Yeah.
How the car is going to handle.
Right. And with nitrogen, you don't have that fluctuation. But I mean, the most people, at least a lot of people end up parking their vehicles outside. It's not in a garage. And so whenever you have that fluctuation overnight, that's what's going to happen. So.
Yep. Understand that completely. So, hey, let's go to the phones real quick. Let's talk to Matthew. Matthew, good morning. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Morning. How are y'all doing?
Good morning.
Doing great.
Well, that's good. So y'all said that I could talk about car parts, new things coming out, right?
You bet.
Uh-huh.
Have y'all heard about those, a company that makes like transition kits for older trucks and like transition them to electric, but they have a generator where the engine would be? Y'all heard about those?
So essentially you're charging the electric portion of the car as you're driving it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And they're, I would describe it as like a resto mod. So you're taking an older vehicle, putting a electronic platform on it, and then putting essentially like a generator in it to run the EV portion of it.
See, I was just kind of curious about them, and I just wanted to know if y'all knew anything else about them, or
so
kind of what their deal was.
In that, like, because if I remember right, in doing this, like you could kind of pick your replicated body design, right, with these things.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and so is there like first of all, my question would be, what would you want yours to be like or look like?
Man, I don't know. My dad has an older, like 70s Ford, one-ton dually,
Yeah.
and I'd want something kind of similar to that, so I could still,
yeah,
you know, it would be kind of stylish, but at the same time, it would still put out some of the same power as today's newer trucks.
yeah.
You know, so it'd still be relevant. I could still drive it on the highway, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the principle of it, but knowing the dynamics of the EV side of the industry, and then also like the capacity that, say, a generator can produce, like it's not going to be a
Yeah.
1-to-1. It'll
Yeah.
get you definitely get you an extended range, but the amount of power that it takes to recharge these EV batteries, and what that would take as far as a generator to be able to produce, like it's going to extend range, but it wouldn't be a infinite thing. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? As far as a
Yeah, that makes
1-to-1. But then secondly, like the batteries are not designed to handle that high current charge. Like it's okay to do that occasionally or intermittently, but to do it every time, it's going to take a toll on the overall longevity or life of a battery to have to do that. You know, there's so much that EV market is growing so quickly, and the amount of advances and stuff in that they're coming up with new technology all
There
the
you
time.
go.
For sure that I think there's a lot to come from that. I love the EV in the sense that driving one of those vehicles is completely different than driving an ICE vehicle, so an internal combustion engine vehicle. Just the amount of instantaneous torque
Yeah.
and horsepower, like it's a put you back in your seat, and it doesn't matter whether it's off the line or whether it's at 40 or 60 mile an hour. You just feel it. And so that part I think is really cool, for sure. Seeing I would call it a resto mod. So, a current powertrain engine in anything in an older vehicle, I always like that.
Sure.
Always dig that, for sure. I think that to take a resto mod, you're doing that for an appearance thing. You're not really doing that for a performance thing, because you take the weight of an old car back then and what it was, and you take like the suspension system of what it was back then, like it's just not going to be able to perform like something brand new out of the factory today.
Not to mention all of the EVs that are out on the road. A lot of people don't know they are heavy.
Yeah.
They are very heavy vehicles.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But like,
those batteries weigh a lot.
yeah, and the other thing is that like Josh said, the technology is only improving. Like this is the beginning of something that could potentially be a much, the technology is just going to get better, and it's going to be a lot more feasible, and you're going to have extended ranges that are going to be a lot longer and things like that. So I do also enjoy the EV lines that a lot of these companies are coming out of, but I'm also very old fashioned, and so I like my internal combustion engines. But yeah, the longer the technology gets better, the better the EV market's going to be too.
So have you had the opportunity to drive an EV, Matt?
I actually, a hybrid. I have. My stepdad does have a hybrid, but that's close as I've been to full electric.
You jump into a Mach-E and drive that thing.
Yeah, Mach-E or Lightning,
or something.
And so he has a Ford hybrid, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it the F-150, or so is the Power Boost, or? Yeah.
F-150.
Yeah, the thing that I love about those things, that Power Boost, is the onboard generator, and what that does.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nice.
You don't think about how much you need a 110 outlet until
man,
you got one, and then you think
one.
of all the different uses you can that you can use for it. So, well, very good. Greatly, appreciate the call and the question and all that stuff as well.
Thank you.
Yep. So have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too, sir.
Perfect.
Take care, Matt.
Thanks. All right. Hey, I'll get another color patch through here and see what's on their mind. But yeah, as we make this transition from summer to let's outwork to not
It's
summer.
football weather.
Yeah, football. Yeah, there you
Football
go.
weather.
Football weather. Boy, I tell you, not to change subjects, but that's been a volatile deal. There has been a lot of freaking upsets in that deal. So
Yep,
a lot of unpredictable predictions.
Yeah, there you go.
Has happened in that. So, but it's as we get the season kicked off and get more of on a pattern, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, there's been a lot of different games that has happened, and
Yeah.
so that was going to be one of the other topic that I was going to talk about is tailgating.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And some of the different vehicles that we've seen in here for tailgating situations or parties. And
can you imagine tailgating with a lightning?
Oh yeah, So I've that's in fact, that's one of the things that they kind of advertise it for is being able to do that. I mean, you can have all the power of the almost be able to have a home circuit per se out there, and stereo systems and big TVs and all sorts of stuff out there. So I think we've got a couple of callers. If we can get one of those, I know of a couple individuals that typically listen that do some tailgating, and I know they've got some. One of them has a power boost. I'm pretty confident on that. I'm sure has some tailgating stories and how much easier that makes that.
I'm sure
able to happen as well.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I've got some good friends that go up to Manhattan pretty much every game, and they've got a power boost as well. And man, just I don't know.
Yeah, it'd make it so much easier.
Well, and the way they've designed these tailgates now in the backs of the truck, it's so much more than a tailgate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they've got and now we're into the center opening tailgate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've had the chance to mess with one of those much, but there's so many other functions on that tailgate other than just a tailgate.
Yeah, exactly.
which is crazy. So, hey, let's go back to the phones and let's talk to Bill Lindsay. Bill, good morning. How are you?
Morning. How you doing?
Good. You're on live with Under the Hood this morning.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you on a 17 Mustang.
Okay.
My son is wanting to change the front bumper cover over to a Mach 1 bumper cover. Is the wiring up there, or is that going to be an issue?
Yeah. So what year Mustang are
17.
you? 17, you said?
17, yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing that I would think would be different is going to be your fog lights. Does the current Mustang have fog lights in it?
Don't recall. I think it might. I'm not for sure.
Yeah. So the only thing that I would know that would be different would be potentially the fog lights. But as far as being able to switch them over, you should be able to change the covers. Okay. And then I had another thought and then I lost it. Grill. So the grill might need to be switched around as well on that thing.
Okay.
So, but for sure. So if you have the VIN number that you're looking at, we can we can look at both of them, and I can kind of verify if there's maybe additional pieces. But I would assume the cover itself should be able to be switched out. Okay. And then I would wonder. I would wonder about the fog lights and the grill only. So
that's what I was wondering about, the halos and the fog lights and the grill.
Yeah. Yep. So I think definitely that it's doable for sure. The difference is going to be, like, I'm assuming with the other style Mustang, like the accents are going to be different. So the accents and the headlights are going to be different. There's going to be other characteristical differences aside from just the fascia. But as far as the parts all fitting together, they should all go together, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
And one other question: do you guys keep the push rivets in stock for like in the trunk area to keep the carpet up?
yeah, we man, you go back here in the parts
God,
department,
man.
and the number of fasteners that are on a vehicle is absolutely crazy. The number of different retainers and fasteners, and then they use this for a year, and then they change over to this other style and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we have
Okay.
a huge amount of fasteners and retainers, and I would say that the odds of us having that are going to be really good, for sure. So,
Okay.
and then that's one of the things
All
that
right.
it just seems like I don't know, those fasteners, a lot of them they're really considered kind of a one-time use part. So
Right.
it's, if you think of like a Christmas tree, it's kind of got that tapered of a shape
Mhm.
with the branches out, and you push it in, and then once it's in, it's stuck.
That's
Like
it. It's there.
it's
Yeah.
there. But so then when you go to remove it and you pull it out, like it's a one-time use deal, and a lot of times you gotta replace them in order for it to hold it down again.
Yep.
It's not going to happen twice. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, sure, we got those in stock, so be more than happy to help you out with that. All right.
All right. Yeah. The big question was that bumper? That was he's trying to make the car more his, and just wants he said, well, Dad, I found a GT or a Mach 1 bumper cover, and I'm like, oh my God. That's
you
so,
have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I mean, they may be making a trip out to you to help with the wiring. So.
We'll be more than happy to help any way we can.
All right, and one other question on our 17 Explorer, I lost the Ford Pass icon on it. Is that just an update, or?
So you're talking about on the screen itself?
On the app?
Yeah, the Ford Pass icon just disappeared, and I think it went away when iPhone did their last update.
So you're talking about on your phone? It went away?
No, it's on the screen of the car. It was on the screen of the car too.
Oh.
And just for clarification, you're missing it on the car, or you're missing it on your phone?
Well, everything just went away. The phone's on there. The car is just missing. A whole bunch of stuff disappeared off of the screen on here just recently, and I don't know if it's because sync needs an update or.
Yeah, are you
what's
using
going on?
Are you using the Apple CarPlay? Well, so 17, no.
Yes. Yeah, I'm using Apple CarPlay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and it happened after the update on the phone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that probably has something to do with it then.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. We can look at
Okay.
the sync level and stuff and get you an appointment for that. So
Okay.
be more than happy to do that.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. You guys have a good weekend.
Yeah,
You too.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
See ya.
All right. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
All right. Hey, 316-462-3673. That's a number to jump on the air here with us. And again, let's talk about anything automotive. So got a little bit of an array of questions this morning, anywhere from EV or electric all the way to, swapping over some Mustang stuff. You see that is, I don't know, relatively common, different grills and stuff like in F-150s or bumper fascias, and they have a little bit different body design, and somebody wants this look versus that look, but doesn't want to pay for that specific model of vehicle or something. We get into that quite a bit on our trades and stuff around here as well. So,
well, not only that now all the new ones, they have cameras on the front of the vehicles and stuff like that. So you taking bumpers off, and it's a whole ordeal now with a lot of these vehicles. They got modules up in the fronts of them and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and it's headlights, or we can talk about just lights in general.
No kidding.
Years ago, man, headlight in a vehicle, that was something that it was relatively common that it would burn out or go out, and the manufacturers made them, pretty reasonable or easy to change.
Right.
And the expense of a headlight, you think back of a halogen bulb or a sealed beam bulb. I think, when you replace the headlight, you're getting a chunk like that,
right,
and putting the whole thing in. And man, anymore, I mean, I've seen headlights that are,
Yeah.
high LED lights that you think, how in the heck is that thing that bright? And it's like
Yeah.
literally the size of a quarter,
It's crazy.
and but then also what to put them in. Like I've seen cases where you have to literally disassemble the front of the car. You're talking 3-4 hours to replace a headlight, but you just don't.
Yeah.
You don't get into it. You don't have to do that very often. I mean, I can't think of the last time that.
Oh yeah.
That I've seen a vehicle come in, a new modern vehicle with a headlight out of it.
You're right. I haven't in a long time.
It's just amazing how
That's crazy.
durable they've made those. But then again, to change it, like that's not something that somebody's going to be able to do in their driveway.
No.
So it is and then now they've got them where the headlights will turn or adjust with the steering and suspension, which again, this time of year when you're starting into deer season and darker temperatures or darker times earlier and stuff like that, makes a huge difference on visibility to be able to see just that much that was quicker.
That was actually going to be my next thing is it's October. This ends up being a lot of the times in Kansas when you're going to be looking out for those deer. Those deer are going to be out and so yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those. Those can be
So let's talk a little bit more about tires.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, we stopped with nitrogen.
Well, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. We can we can go whichever way you want. But this time of year, the nitrogen has a huge number of benefits. All the time. The biggest thing is just when you think about the circumference of a tire and how much that thing changes, with the different PSI from a cooler temperature to a warmer temperature, nitrogen is not as susceptible to those temperature differences or the pressure differences.
You can't talk.
I can't.
No,
I can't spit anything out. The pressure difference because of temperature. And so when your tire is staying in a more even temperature throughout the whole drive cycle of the tire and atmospheric temperatures, throughout the whole life of the tire, it's going to wear so much better.
Well, yeah, and it makes perfect sense because you're getting the correct footprint of the tire, right?
The contact.
Yep, the contact. The vehicle is being helped out because of the way the tire's been designed. It's actually the most fuel efficient way to run that tire. Yep. So there's so many benefits, and tire pressure is like the numero uno for
fuel economy.
Fuel economy
is huge,
and just overall traction, tire wear, everything. That's where it comes into play.
And so the other side of that is, when a just overall longevity or wear of that tire, a tire that is at operating pressure for every pound of air that tire loses, it generates more heat, right?
Yeah.
And so you typically see things like you don't have the tire manufacturers, everybody produces a pretty decent product, pretty much anymore.
So. Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily have blowouts, so to speak of, unless you're driving down the road and you hit something and you pop a tire or break a belt or something like that. Then you could potentially have a blowout. But the most common thing that we see is tires basically lose their tire pressure, then they get hot, and then they get overheated, and then
they blow,
and then they blow because of the temperatures, not so much that there was a defect in the tire and there was a band that broke, or one of the steel beads broke or something like that. It's typically caused because of temperature. And so that's where nitrogen, if it's able to sustain that temperature for longer, it's definitely a much better benefit long term for your overall investment. I mean, tires are freaking expensive.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with you on that.
I can remember starting, in this industry, and 14-inch tires, 15-inch tires was really kind of the thing, man. If you had a 18, like you were really you were really upsizing.
Yeah, that's right.
I can remember, as a tech, taking tires, on two on each hand and walking them over to the tire machine and dismounting them and remounting them and heading back to the vehicle and stuff like that. And you're not doing that anymore.
It's really hard to believe that I'm actually getting old, and it's kind of weird, right? But like, 195, 65, 14s. I remember like selling those on cars, Hondas. That was the Honda size and Toyotas and stuff like that. And you don't realize like how small those tires are.
Yeah.
And then you see the things that we're putting on cars today, and it's like, holy smokes,
those were donuts to the
exactly.
I mean, we've got new new product coming out now with 24s here before too long.
I know.
So it's absolutely crazy, and the thinner sidewalls and stuff like that. So nitrogen's a huge help, of protecting your investment, getting the most out of your investment, things like that.
And then the last thing, especially with a lot of these vehicles anymore, not coming with spares. With the nitrogen thing, I mean, that's your lifeline. I mean, they have like run flats and stuff like that if you do get into a sticky situation. But, if you're out on the road on a road trip or something like that, it's not like a lot of these places carry these run flats everywhere. And it's just, tire pressure is extremely important. That's one of the first things I check before I'm going on a long trip.
On a trip?
Yep.
So now let's talk about actual tires.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about what we do day in and day out that you feel that we have advantages of over, say, a tire shop specifically, or let's say a wholesale club like a Sam's or a Walmart, or not picking on those guys,
Sure.
but or a tire store or something along those lines.
I think that the fact that as much volume as we see, I think especially the technicians are so experienced with being able to notice something that maybe another shop would not be able to catch. I just had one the other day. A vehicle came in with a vibration. It started at 40 miles an hour, and you could actually see the separated belt of the tire. It's a brand new tire. You know what I mean? But the ability to take the information from the customer, be able to identify what probably they need to look for and things like that. We're not looking for loose suspension parts if you drive into a vibration. So just the knowledge and the amount of vehicles that we see on a daily basis, the guys are able to identify an actual issue fairly quickly and be able to diagnose it correctly the first time. So I think that's something that we have over a lot of other shops, just because of the experience that a lot of our guys have, just by the number of vehicles we see every single day.
Yeah, so I would definitely agree with that. One of the things that I think that we bring to the table that is a huge value to a customer is the selection. Overall,
absolutely.
You go to a tire shop, or
you can play baseball in our tire warehouse room.
Well, it's absolutely, just not necessarily the number of tires that we have, but just the number of offerings that we have. And I run into this all the time. Phil and I talk about this, quite a bit as well. But as we go through and recondition our trade-ins, it really surprises me sometimes on what tires you see on people's vehicles, or that they've selected to put on a vehicle. That is the incorrect tire. It's the incorrect load rating. It's the incorrect speed rating. Like there's something that's way too aggressive for this, or not aggressive enough for that, or
all-wheel drive vehicles with 3 different sizes on them,
or 3 different tires on them with 3 different tread depths on them. And so just that knowledge, or that offering based is huge. What are some of the things in visiting with a consumer about the need to replace tires? What are some of the discussion topics?
A lot of the customers that we have come in just have a specific, like, I want this kind of ride, or I want a more aggressive tread for what I do with the vehicle. And that's basically being able to give them options of what they desire in that particular tire. And most of the time, it's going to be, hey, I want a good highway design, quiet ride good in all weather because we live in Kansas kind of thing. And the ability to offer them several options for what they would like to do and different price points is pretty much why we're good at what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. And then when I'm visiting with a customer about their tires or what they need to replace it with, I guess what I'm asking of you is like, what are some of the things how do you determine what tire we're going to put on a vehicle?
Well, what they use the vehicle for.
Mhm.
That's it. I mean,
So their use of it. A couple of the questions that I have that go along with that too is, okay, how long are you going to own this vehicle?
yeah, that's
How
a good
many
one too. How many
miles do you
miles?
drive
Yep.
a year? So that because you can, there's tires out there that are 100,000-mile tires, right?
Oh yeah.
But also you don't want to put somebody on a 100,000-mile tire that drives 10,000 miles over 4-year period,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so you
What's
you
the
don't want to
point?
overpay that tire is going to
Right.
dry rot and not be very good for you. And then also you wouldn't want to put somebody in a softer compound of a tread that doesn't drive that much, because what's going to happen then?
It's going to just wear out.
It's going to flat spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so every time they get in it, it's going to feel like
yeah,
it's out of balance, and
if you put them on a vehicle that sits for a long period of time. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And so and then where do you do most of your driving? Is it in town? Is it out of
highway,
town?
yeah.
So when we're able to do all the math, let's say,
Yeah.
put all the pieces of the puzzle of the equation together, I really feel like we can really produce a product long term for a customer that's going to be the best thing for them.
Right.
And so we're up to 17 different manufacturers that are on the tire sales program.
Yep.
That we have to offer. That's everything within the tire sales program. But yeah, it's definitely I feel like we have the best ability to get the customer what they need.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's right for them.
Absolutely.
For sure. So
Yep. And then last thing I was going to just kind of mention, I guess, relating to tires, was aligning the vehicle as well whenever you get new tires, because that also has a lot to do with not just the wear of the tires, but also safety and things like that and all weather. That is a very important thing as well. You want those tires to correctly contact the road. Obviously, alignment doesn't just necessarily mean the vehicle's pulling. You also want those investments that you've made. Like we've said, tires are very expensive. If you don't have the vehicle aligned, even if it's not pulling, you could prematurely wear out your investment, and that is not a good thing.
Well, and then that even goes along with what you have to do every so often through ownership of those tires is rotation, right? Like that's the most important thing to make a tire last for whatever the duration that it is that it's going to live. And if you don't, and so what are some of the variables that go into why you need to rotate a tire? Like what wears them if you don't rotate them?
Well, most of the time the tires on the front are going to normally wear out the fastest for a lot of reasons, but mainly braking, turning, things like that. Those are going to be normally the tires that get worn the fastest.
Yeah, braking, the turning, you got the weight of the engine that's up there.
And what if it's a front-wheel drive vehicle? That's another thing that comes into play as well.
Yep.
So yeah, generally the front tire is going to wear the fastest. So that's generally why you want to rotate them, is to get them as much life out of them as possible. And even if it's a rear wheel drive vehicle, the fronts still tend to wear the fastest anyways. But yes, every time you change the oil,
that depends on who's driving.
Okay,
so.
that's a good point. Okay, touche. If Josh is driving, it's
no.
But yes, rotating the tires every time you get the vehicle service, which comes with our works package. It's not anything additional. And then we also get to look at the brakes whenever that happens, just to check them. But yeah, every time you change the oil, rotate the tires. It's the easiest way, and then you'll get the most life out of those tires.
Sure. Yep.
Easy peasy.
So what are some other things as we move from summer to fall that people need to look at or address or think about?
Check the coolant.
Yep.
Check the coolant. Just it's important. It's something that, I guess, antifreeze, coolant, antifreeze, same thing. Just check the cooling system on the car. That's that's something that's very important. You don't want that to have a serious issue. So just make sure you have us check it.
Yeah, would definitely agree with that. So got a comment up here, wipers.
Oh, wipers.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That was actually
One you were probably thinking of?
that was on my list.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, you go out and I've seen this. In fact, I was walking around a used car the other day and I was looking at it. I meant to take a picture of it and I was going to show it on the show, but there are so many options out there for wipers.
Yeah.
Like it is, you've got anti-ice and you've got, all sorts of stuff. But what I was, this one specifically had caught my eye because it was clearly what I would determine as a universal wiper blade, right? Okay. So they made one wiper blade and it was to fit
as
it was
many cars as possible.
Looked like it was to fit everything. And the wiper blade itself looked like a pretty decent wiper blade, right?
Right.
It, from what I've seen, but how it was attached to the vehicle, like there was a bracket on a bracket on a bracket and it was
God.
the wiper arm and where it was attached was actually like there was like 3 different things that of linkages that connected them before it actually attached to the wiper arm. And I'm thinking, man, just I mean it was on there and it worked, but it looked to me like it could definitely be a point of failure. Sure. Like in the wrong time. I'm thinking of driving somewhere down the highway and ice and stuff like that, and a little bit of resistance on that wiper blade and it freaking snaps off on one of the brackets that's not the bracket that holds the bracket that does the thing. And it's like, God, man, that just seems like and especially in that particular situation, it would be dangerous, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you wipers, nobody ever thinks of their wipers until
it
rains and they need them and they turn them on and like it half smears and then it's instant memory of, oh yeah, I meant to do that. So, and that is something that we try to every time as part of the multi-point inspection of checking over those wipers, because it's just something that you don't need until you need. And then when you need it, they need to work very, very efficiently. So,
and then the last thing, especially now it's coming cold, what's the thing that always tends to go bad when it starts to get cold? Batteries.
Yeah. Yep.
Batteries.
Sure.
Get your battery checked. Batteries in Kansas normally last anywhere from 2 to 3 to 3 to 5 years, depending on the kind of battery that it is. Get your batteries checked. The last thing that you want to be is on getting ready to go to work first thing in the morning, and you go out there and nothing.
You get a nothing. So Delbert says, when I changed my wipers on a 2020 Fusion to a non-Ford brand, they didn't do as well, so I went back to the Ford branded wiper blades. It was much better and lasted a long time as well. Yep. Yeah, I mean there's truly something to be said about OEM
parts.
And then here's my thing too, like and I've done this, looked at it before. I mean, we sell a lot of wiper blades.
Oh yeah.
So the volume discount, but you can't go somewhere and buy a set of off-branded. I mean, you can, but they're going to be really cheap wiper blades. But if you got a reputable branded aftermarket wiper blade compared to what we sell Motorcraft wiper blades for, like you can't go do it. And then we don't charge anything to install a wiper blade. No. So it's definitely interesting that somebody would go out and and look at purchasing a aftermarket set of wiper blades
instead of what the vehicle or what was made for the vehicle. Yeah. But
agree with that completely. So and it's true to be said about any part.
Yeah, anything.
There's a direct fitment, and anytime there's a aftermarket option, like that manufacturer is going to try and modify that part any way they can to make it fit several vehicles, so they have to carry less SKU numbers. That's right.
Yep.
And so there's a huge benefit in OEM as far as longevity and reliability and stuff like that. So hey, let's go to the phones and talk to Greg. Good morning, Greg. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Hey, good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Sorry, I missed the first part of the show. My daughter and I are driving up to the K-State Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So I think you would have fit in perfect to that discussion, because I wanted some input on tailgating and some of the features and functions that you use for tailgating from your vehicle.
Well, you know, if I'd have drove the truck, that would have been perfect. I mean, we could have had a TV up and going and do it, but we drove the Corvette up.
That makes
works.
tailgating a little bit tougher. However, you get there way quicker.
Sure, that's right.
It's a turn of
Yeah, except for the stretch on I-70 where it's, you know, idling.
Yeah.
But,
Must not have time to tailgate today, so that's why we took the car.
Yeah, that's it. An 11 o'clock start time too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But the night part is then take the whole day. So
Yes. Yeah.
I called for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
First, I wanted to mention, you know, you were talking about tire wear and replacing tires, and you know, I know plenty of people that think, well, it's still legal, so I don't need to replace my tires. It's still got more than 230 seconds, and I think, right, but you degrade your braking and handling all the way from new down to used. So it's not just replace it 2, you might start thinking about it at 4. And then, I don't know, you guys can talk about that more, but it's not just, oh, well, I'm legal, they don't have to be replaced. But then you guys were talking about rotations, and we're driving the Corvette up here, and I'm like, I can't rotate it. I mean,
staggered.
side to side, is that a good plan, the side to side rotate? What does that do?
Yeah. So when you get into the high performance applications like that, you know, if they're non-directional, then side to side is an option. If they are directional, then you can get into situations where you have to dismount and remount the tire. But yeah, side to side is good. Anytime you can get a different direction of rotation or on that tire, you know, one side's going to wear different than the other side. You're going to extend the life of that tire for sure. And so the only thing, again, that you would caution in doing that is if it was a directional tire on it as well. So when you get into a staggered size directional tire, obviously the rotation becomes way more complicated in the sense that you're going to have to dismount and remount those tires in order to be able to do that. But in your particular case, that makes that alignment so much more important, right? Because you can hide or prolong a lot of alignment issues with, you know, if they're very, very minimal margin or errors of failure with rotation. You know, it definitely prolongs the life of that tire in a unfavorable environment when you rotate it. So, but in your situation, where you only have so many places that tire can go, it just makes that alignment so much more important.
Right. And to circle back to something else, checking your suspension. You know, my Corvette is not new, so what do my shocks look like? I've got that adaptive, and you know, if that starts to go out, I could get chopped that will never get out. I might need to replace shocks, and I don't know. You guys put tires on this car. Very, very happy with them. But that was something we were looking at all before we did it too.
Yeah. So with that particular vehicle, it probably has the MagnaRide option on it, I'm guessing.
Right.
To where you can kind of select the different ride modes. You know, that's another thing too, is what's the suspension system like? You know, that makes a huge difference on the overall wear of a tire. And that's where when we put a set of tires on, to have a factory trained technician look at that vehicle, you know, what we're taking off of that vehicle is almost just as important in that evaluation as the visual inspection of the vehicle, because that tire that's coming off of us, that's going to tell the story, you know, and that's going to give us a better idea where to look. But if you don't know what you're looking for when you pull that tire off, you know, then you're losing half your evidence of what's going on with the vehicle, right? And so that part is very crucial as well. So agree with that 100%.
Fair enough. I appreciate you guys taking the call, and thanks for sending the coupon for the oil change, because you know, Corvette thing. That's the other thing. I've only put like 7,000 miles on this in a year and a half.
Wow.
I mean, but I'm still stuck on yearly oil changes regardless.
Yeah.
even if you've only put 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah, you
right?
Yeah, definitely need to be at least once a year, for sure, on it. Just the sitting and forming condensation and stuff like that in that oil. Like I would not let a engine go for more than a year before having it serviced.
Yep.
No matter, regardless of miles.
Yep.
So
and get that MOA in there too.
So.
Right.
Well, hey,
right. Thanks for taking.
You bet.
Yeah, enjoy your game.
Yeah, enjoy
Hope
the
you
game.
have a great day up there. So.
All right. Thanks a bunch.
You
Perfect.
bet.
Yep. Have a good one. Very good. So a lot of
Yeah.
calls.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good. So, but I was trying to think of wiper blades. We're
Yeah.
talking about the difference in aftermarket parts and stuff. So yes, Greg, that was definitely on the list as well.
And then I tried to move on to batteries, but then you had wipers.
Yeah. Well, batteries is definitely important too, and that's something that we check. And I would talk about that too, as we talked about the difference between an OEM wiper blade and aftermarket batteries is something, man, there is a lot of different manufacturers of batteries out there. And, my biggest thing with batteries is, you're going to get what you pay for.
Oh yeah.
Motorcraft has a warranty behind it, but during their warranty period, they'll even cover roadside assistance. And there's not another manufacturer out there that will cover, like the battery. If it fails, they'll take care of that, but they're not going to cover towing or anything along those nature to do it. But here's my biggest thing with batteries. And years ago, this really wasn't a thing because, you had pretty much two cables you had a positive post and a negative post and two cables on that. And you could replace like a terminal end at the end of the cable. And, it wasn't really that big a deal if it was corroded up or whatever. But I've seen these newer vehicles and the location of the battery and where it's at. A lot of times, because the battery is heavier, the manufacturers will use them for kind of weight distribution. And so sometimes they're inside the vehicles and sometimes they're in the fender wells. And, I've seen them under wiper cowls. Like, it's not just an easy, I can touch it right here. It is type deal. Like, there's in some cases I've seen, as much as a couple of hours just to even get to a battery location. But then in addition to that, and more so than what it was previously, is the cost of the cables, the battery cables, and where all they go and the different modules that they run to. And it's not just a matter of putting a cable in on it. So you go putting a cheap battery into something and it's not sealed up very well around the post of the battery and they corrode, and then you end up having to replace a cable. I mean, these cables can be expensive and go a long ways in the vehicle, and you're talking several hours of labor to get to them and get them replaced. So
battery monitoring system on the cable itself, and that's a big deal. If that thing goes out, the car's stuck.
Well, to that point too, is you can't just put a battery in it, right? You got to go through and reset parameters and do all this stuff that otherwise, years ago you didn't have to do. And so the at-home garage mechanic doing this and that is becoming a lot more challenging.
Well, and the other thing is we have all of these vehicles with all of these modules and all of these accessories and bells and whistles and stuff like that. And you go out and you buy a battery from an aftermarket company and it is not meeting the requirements of what the vehicle actually needs. I've seen it before. They'll put in a battery that's the right size, but a lot of the features that the vehicle has, they don't know, but they're putting a battery that is not made for that vehicle, and it won't function the correct way. It'll start turning off other systems of the vehicle because it doesn't meet the cold cranking amperage or just the overall power that's required for that vehicle. I've seen it. So go OEM, baby.
Yep. Very, very, very good. So, hey, we're winding down here, so I thought we would go through and give some love to all the sponsors of the show. We've got Go To Rent, which is right inside here with us. Stan has a great selection of vehicles over there. I cannot believe I'm getting ready to say this, but traveling season is faster approaching.
That's right.
You know, we're now into October, soon will be November, you know, and it's all downhill from there. So if you're looking for a larger vehicle for any type of upcoming traveling, please get with Stan at Go to Rent. We've got, again, like I said, there's quite a selection of larger vehicles, or maybe you're just wanting something more fuel efficient for your road trip. Give us a call over at Go to Rent. And then Big Corner Creative. So for all your marketing and advertising needs, social media, traditional media advertising, window wraps, race car wraps, any type of designs or anything you need, Big Corner Creative. As those guys say, just Google us. And then BG Products. So all the great preventative maintenance items we use right here inside Mel Hambelton Ford each and every day to keep your vehicle running as many miles as you want it to go. Can't tell you how greatly appreciative we are of the relationship that we have with them, and the research and development that they put into their products to make your car run as many miles as you want it to go. So BG Products. Everybody, hey, have a great wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you next Saturday.
There you go.